Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarottam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So good evening, everyone. Let's get started. So we were in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. We have discussed chapter 1. We have discussed chapter 2. So now we are in the middle of chapter 3. So chapter 1, of course, it talked about the concepts. What is yoga and how is the composition of the mind is created. Remember those 5 things. And then how those things get started. It basically how it radiates within. So likewise, then we talked about what are the essential things. You need to have the vairagya, you need to have the abhyasa, and then how that is going to work. So basically, the concept was explained like that, right? Then in chapter 2, specifically, we went to the 5 parts of the Raja Yoga, which is yam, niyam, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, that 5, right? Then, so why we learned that is basically because there has to be some start to this, right? Otherwise, we can start talking about the mind. This is how the mind is made up of. This is okay. You do meditation and develop your mind, and you can basically get that mind power into different things. So that type of thing you can see, right? But Patanjali says, first of all, look at your behavior. Look at what you think. Look at what your actions are. Look at what you talk. So that's what yam and niyam. And then look at the body. So through the bodily movements, by giving attention to the bodily movements, you make sure that basically a kind of a discipline is being maintained. That is asana. Then learn, at least if you are in this world, try to be a part of this world properly. That is through the pranayama practices, right? There are certain places in your body where the energies are not saturated properly. So you need to basically look into those areas and then fix it. So that is through pranayama practices, right? Then we learned about the pratyahara. Do whatever you want, right? But don't cling on to that, right? Then we came on to chapter 3. So chapter 3 is what they talk as Vibhuti-pada. So here basically what is explained by Patanjali is what is the remedy? What is the remedy? Or what is the path that we should go, right? So this chapter focuses only about the mind, right? How the mind need to be taken into one-pointedness. So we said dharana is bringing the mind into a one point at a particular time. And then we said dhyana is maintaining it for a little longer time. And then samadhi, we said, when you maintain it for a longer time, you become one with that object, right? So basically you lose yourself. There is no self, right? Multiple religions, philosophies are saying there's no such a thing called I, you, a person, right? Why? Because when you focus into something or when you bring your mind into an ekagra or one-pointedness, basically so in order for you to go there, first of all, you need to get rid of your all pre-filled thoughts, impressions, feelings. All these things you need to get rid of. Then you will see the pure state of your mind, right? That will help you to focus on something, right? So we will go to the slides, and so before we go into the slides, so I must warn you, today you will feel, okay, the things what we are going to learn today is like, these are like magical powers. Is it really possible? Are these things actually possible? Right? That type of an understanding, that type of a belief you will try to get in, but understand that, first what we need to do is we need to study our mind. The studying of our mind, that can be done through what we discussed last time. That is basically through looking into the cycle of life, how the life is happening, and how. So today you are as such a person. Today you are so and so, living in so and so way, having these kids, doing this job, this, that, and the other. So you have everything around you. You like a small island, right? You have certain physical things, you have certain mental things, you have certain likeness, dislikes, certain things are there, right? So the first job is understanding what is the life's cycle. When you understand the life's cycle or the samsaric cycle, what happens is you need to understand from the birth to now, right now, you came as a pure being, but you are being loaded with so many things, right? We talked about these things, but I'm just recalling to go to the conversation, right? So first of all, you were introduced with a mother and a father. So if the same person has been thrown out to somebody else, right, or abandoned by somebody, and you show somebody else as mother and father very comfortably, you will accept it, right? Because you did not know, right? But right now, if somebody tells, this is not your mother and father, that is your mother and father, right? Will you accept it? No. Because right now it's imprinted, right? So the word red was educated to you, and the word red was given a color, and the word red is being given certain qualities, right? Just like the other, this one as well. So I can show you, something, right? Let's show you this book. What is the color of this book? Is it blue or green? Right? Blue, green. Why do you call it blue or green? Can I call it white? Why don't I call it white? So these are all names. There are two things called nama and rupa. So these are nama, meaning you name everything. As humans, we name everything, right? But let's say for an animal, how do we say? It's a treat. All the food in this world is a treat for them, right? And whatever they do is play. But for us humans, food, when you say food, it has multiple names, and each name you have different flavors based on the culture. Indian, this one. African, this one. Likewise, right? Even if you take an elephant, elephant will not know, we call it an elephant, right? For an elephant to know that we call it an elephant, elephant need to understand multiple languages then, because we use multiple languages. So we say elephant, yarn, then alia, then in any language we call different things. So the elephant will not know, you call it an elephant, right? But as humans, we have given nama, or naming convention is put to anything and everything in this world, right? So then with that naming, you have a particular rupa or a particular object. So that object is given a particular name. And now that object will behave in such a way, based on that behavior, your mind will have, okay, if this behaves like this, you call it this. If it behaves like the other way, you call it like this. So likewise, if we look at our mind, this mind is filled up with so many things, right? So the moment we say, okay, you meditate, the moment you close your eyes, what happens is so many things start to pour into your head. So how can you meditate, right? So the first thing is you need to basically dismantle all these things, right? Unload. Unload, unload, unload. So how are we going to unload it is through, again, by learning to look at things in a middle path manner. Meaning, when you look at something, now, at the moment, you look at anything, right? You look at anything, you will have immediately, I like it, I don't like it. Or this is good, this is bad. This is big, this is small. So, some two ways. Always the mind operates in two ways. And those two ways are opposite to each other. White, black, black, white, right? Likewise. So, you need to basically, now if you look at a vehicle, being in the middle path doesn't mean that you should not like the vehicle, right? Being in the middle path doesn't mean that you should stop desiring for the vehicle, right? You should be not too excited about the vehicle or the concept of vehicle totally, as a concept itself. It's not that one physical object, I like it or I don't like it. It's just the whole thought system. You have to be like, if it comes, that's fine. If it goes, that's also fine. Something like that, right? Now, so let's go into today's sutras, right? So, as I told you, now these sutras will look like, okay, magic, right? These are like the things that a person can do, right? But please understand, this is not magic. It's just that we haven't reached to such a place, right? So based on our understanding, again, based on our perception, these things maybe seem like impossible, right? So let's look into those. So what are we talking about? Right? The moment I do this, I lose control of certain parts on the screen. It's good, right? See? Right, okay. So, right. Okay, should be fine now, right? So, the 14th sutra, I didn't include the Sanskrit parts here because I thought, okay, let's just give the meaning, right? But when it comes to certain things that we should do right now, then our activities, what we should do right now, I will include all those things, right? So it says in the 14th sutra, right? We call about so everything, right? The substrata is that which continues to exist and maintain its characteristic quality in all states, whether manifest, latent, or subdued, right? So what this means is, so don't worry about these words. So if at all, if I include all the Sanskrit words, this should have been like a dream, right? So what it means is, anything in this world is in either a manifest state or a latent state or a subdued state, right? So, and it has certain characteristics as well, right? Like sattva guna, raja guna, and tamo guna, right? So the cosmic energy means basically something even beyond this, something beyond the qualities, right? So what it tells is in very simple terms. So when you take the whole world, right? If you look at everything, if you take an animal, if you take a tree, if you take the sky, if you take the wind, if you take the stars, all of those things, there has to be one common factor. Let's call it, just to understand, the life factor, right? The life of everything, right? So there is something called a cosmic energy. People might believe it, people might not believe it, but what I'm saying is, you take your own body today, right? And tomorrow, let's say you are dead, right? What is the difference between these two? Do you have all the organs? Yes. Do you have the heart inside? Yes. Do you have all your limbs? Yes. Then what are you missing? you are missing is like the electric power to operate this. So if you take electricity power, anybody seen electricity? We have seen electricity when you take two cables apart, sometimes it will spark, right? So for that to spark, basically what is being able to capture to our eyes is the particular light. But is it electricity? It may not be electricity. Right? So electricity is something. So if you take an electric shock to your hand, you will get an immediate shock, right? Does that mean you saw electricity? No, you just experienced electricity, right? But something like that. So we have something which operates us as humans, which operates animals as animals, which operates trees. So even if you take a tree, so a tree is there. It will be there for 100 years, right? Suddenly the tree dies. All the leaves will fall, right? And the trunk will just, start decaying. Why that happens? When the cosmic energy basically leaves it, right? So we also do have a cosmic energy. So what Patanjali says is, once you basically maintain the samyama, meaning dharana, dhyana, samadhi, right? Once you maintain the samyama, you can come to a realization that everything in this world has a common field, has a common factor. Myself, my dog, to a tree, we all have a common factor, which is the cosmic energy, right? Then Patanjali says, successive sequential changes cause the distinctive changes in the consciousness, right? So successive means one after the other. We say, who is the successor for you in your office? Meaning when you leave, who is going to take it over, right? So successive means one after the other, right? So successive sequential changes cause the distinctive changes in the consciousness. Differences in changes in consciousness are caused by changing order of sequence in method of practice, right? So forget about all the big words. What it means is simply you have your mind right now. So right now, let's say you are thinking about Patanjali Yoga Sutra. You are thinking about what is being displayed on your screen. How that happens is, in a sequential basis, the thoughts are basically the same. First thought is about Patanjali, second thought is about Patanjali, third thought is about Patanjali, fourth is about Patanjali. So, a successive sequence of thoughts are being generated towards something is what you call as a particular thought, right? So, that's how the world operates. So when our mind run here and there, meaning you have one thought, Patanjali. Dinner comes. After Patanjali, what to do? The pet comes. Your other house comes. Friends come, right? So these thoughts are not now in a sequential order, right? But as far as things are in a sequential order, what happens is basically we call it okay. So that is a particular thought. That is a particular thought flow. Right? So when you are normally working in the office, when you totally focus to your computer, basically you can do something. Right? The moment you take your hand out to drink a tea, sometimes, oh, the WhatsApp message will come into the picture. I need to call somebody. Right? Why? Because this was taken out from the order. So how the mind works is, always there is one thought, there's another thought, there's another. And the lifetime of this thought is not even a millisecond, right? It's tiny, 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 very tiny. But those tiny thoughts are being taken one after the other. It's just a one order then. Right? Then he says, by mastery of three transformation of the nature, right? Dharma, Swarupa, Lakshana, conditions, through samyama on the nirodha, samadhi, and ekagra states of consciousness, the yogi acquires the knowledge of past and future of a thing in focus. Meaning, now this is where things might get kind of like, dreamy. You might think that how these things are possible, right? These things are possible. I will give you some examples, right? So, Sutra 16. What it says is, now first of all, what is samyama? Is dharana dhyana samadhi. Meaning, you are being able to focus at a particular one point. Now, what that one point, it can be a material thing, it can be a non-material thing. So there are people, when you close your eyes, you can just keep watching your mind. Just keep watching your mind. Remember the witness story? The train and the sellers outside, right? So you are going on the train, you are not attending to everything. You are just watching and going, right? So you keep your mind, so you be a witness. So you witness everything what the mind is doing. Everything what the mind is doing. Then at a point, what happens is, since there is somebody watching, these disturbing thoughts what come to your mind will basically try to summon down. Right? Then you will be able to come to a place where your mind is like fully, if you focus on darkness, it will be darkness only. Right? If you focus on a particular light, it will be light only. If you focus on nothing, it will be blank. Right? So likewise, when you master that ability, right? And then when you focus on something, let's say you focus on a particular thing, right? This particular object, let's say or let's say you focus on a particular tree, let's say. So when you focus on that tree, because you are in the one-pointedness, you will be able to understand the past, present, future of this particular tree. Right? So there are siddhas, there are people, enlightened people in the past, right, who has actually, given certain predictions, told in 20 this many years, the world will be banished. This person will go out from the leadership. I don't know those things, right? But there are certain predictions given by people. Right? So those predictions, not by these modern people in the present context, they are predictions. You can see that things are getting, out of shape next day itself. But certain things were said, and those things were even realized. So it's astonishing to see how they could say certain things at that point of time and how they became a reality. Right? So when you have the samyama, so your mind, what Patanjali explains is your mind have a tremendous power, right? But this power has been deviated by so much of things which is filled in your head. If you take those things out from your mind, this power will be again restored. And that power, you can focus at a particular thing. And you will be able to look into the past, present, and future of such a thing. For an example, take this, right? Have you seen tuk-tuks in the road? Right? Have you seen so much decorated tuk-tuks in the road? This example I'm taking, you will remember this, right? So have you seen there are tuk-tuks? When the tuk-tuk is arriving at you, you feel like a DJ is coming towards you. You can hear all the dissing sound, right? And then not only the DJ, you have the lights also. So sometimes when you are, especially these days, when you don't have lights on the road, when you are driving in the night, suddenly you see something appearing like an alien vehicle towards you. There are purple color lights, green color lights, yellow color lights, and the lights are like going like this. Sometimes it seems like Night Rider coming towards you, right? Even buses are like that, right? So much of lights, and then so much of sound and noise. And then sometimes you have TVs, a reverse camera. Even three-wheelers do have reverse sensors. I don't know what to sense. You just look out, everything is there, right? So, but you have all these things. So imagine it has a particular battery in the vehicle. Let's say it's a 12-volt battery, right? So now this battery is being used for lights, right? Do you want those lights? I don't know. For some reason, there are lights. And then for the DJ, right? So much of DJs. And if you have a smoke machine, the smoke machine will also operate, right? And so much of other things, this particular battery is being utilized, right? But on the same way, imagine this battery is being only utilized to power the engine, right? Now what happens? Even when this vehicle comes and goes, right, it doesn't create any disturbances. And the vehicle itself is not disturbed. Now it's not colorful. Now it doesn't give so much of sound. Now it doesn't give like 5 to 6 honking noises, right? All these things are now not there. So we are also like, we have a particular cosmic energy. Let's call it a constant. Let's call it A, right? So A is the value of our cosmic energy, right? But since our mind is filled up of so much of thoughts, which even steals your sleep when you close your eyes, what happens is this particular cosmic energy has been deviated into lot of things. Imagine it's like a battery. When the power goes off, if you connect 100 lights, the battery will dry off, right? But if you connect only one light, the battery will be there for a longer time, right? So likewise, what Patanjali says is this particular cosmic energy, right? When you are having this cosmic energy in full potential, right, without being deviated to anything else, then you focus on something, you will be able to look into its past, present, and future, because you are with pure energy. With pure energy, you are focusing on another energy source, right? Then you should be able to look into the past, present, and future. So that is fine. Then Patanjali says, even words, objects, nama, rupa, right, and ideas are superimposed. Do we agree? Right? So I would say a word, let's say, this is a good book. That is not so good book. This is a red color book. This is a drawing book. This is a coloring book. And this is a physics book. This is a chemistry book. This is a maths book, right? At the end of the day, if you give everything to a child, right, what is it for the child? Maybe if the child knows a book, it's a book, right? Does the child know what is written there? No. What the child knows is, okay, there are some lines, kind of a thing is there. So something is drawn. Everything is a drawing book for a child, right? So if you understand, so if you are maintaining your samyama, and if you pay attention to the words, objects, and the ideas which are superimposed on those, you can actually understand the root of all languages, right? Meaning it looks, these couple of sutras looks very complicated, right? But that's fine. So what it means is, now for an example, there are people, have you seen, they can talk to elephants? Right? Out of nowhere, an elephant comes, he is able to deal with the elephant, and then the elephant obeys. Something like that. Language is a created thing, right? What is the root of the language is basically there is a word, right? Or we have our senses. Let's start from the senses. So we have our senses. So we have I, and there is an object. And then according to the consciousness that we have, we give a word to that particular object we see through the eye. Right? So those are the three basic things in a language, right? Or you hear something and you have the consciousness. So what you hear, you put it into a word. You smell something, you taste something, you feel something, it's the same, right? Whatever it is, basically we identify it as an object, we have the sense organ, and we give a interpretation to that. So when you use your samyama, the cosmic energy towards this particular concept, you are being able to understand any language. Because the language is a superimposed thing, right? You should be able to understand any language. You should be able to talk to animals. You should be able to talk to birds. That's not an issue, right? So you know that in ancient times, there were certain yogis who were able to, talk to animals. Right now, even there are certain people who take the snake, the venomous king cobra, in the neck, right? The fangs and everything is not cut or removed. Fangs are there, right? But you basically keep your cosmic energy in a particular level that you can understand the animal, right? Okay, so that is one more thing what Patanjali is telling about the samyama, when you improve the samyama. Then he says, again, through direct perception of the subliminal impressions, the yogi gains a knowledge of his previous lives. This is, of course, true, right? One good example is Lord Buddha, right? So when he went into meditation, there are steps given, right? So first of all, he went into meditation, then he went to this arking sanyayatana, neva sanyayatana, arking na sanyayatana. Likewise, different layers in the consciousness he went to, right? So on the day that he was becoming Buddha, right? He got the ability to actually the first three things, right? Understand how the life is happening in the world. How the life is happening. What is life, right? How the life of all living beings are happening in this world, right? And then he understood how, basically how the universe works as a whole. Then he understood, okay, by focusing your energy, you are able to understand the past lives, past events of him. Then he understood the past events of anybody he want to see, right? So there are certain places he has basically, okay, so there is a nice, beautiful story, right? So once him and his first disciple, or the treasurer of Dharma, Ananda Thero, right? So the Lord Buddha and Ananda Thero is now walking. So when he is walking on a path, a particular owl, a beautiful owl, was on the road, right? Now this owl, for some reason, it could not fly. So what this owl did was, now if a particular bird see you, us, what does the bird do? Just fly away, right? But this particular bird, it says nicely in the story, it came walking, right? It came walking towards Buddha, and it took its beak and the head 3 times on the Buddha's feet, right? And then Buddha was explaining, this particular bird would be on this day will become a Buddha into this world, right? So this is another life of that particular upcoming or future generations to come, a particular Buddha. Okay, now this is also a life. So now see how that happens, right? So he was able to basically look into the creature and understand how its future is going to be, how its past was be like. Another example, a very recent one. So this Yoga Swami of Jaffna, right? So this is a very popular story, right? So once he seemed to be like, he don't interact with people much. And his words are little, stronger when he talks. So once he went to a small shack on the road, right? And they were having this vade and plain tea, the tea, right? Those type of small shorties to sell. So when he went to the counter, imagine this story, right? And this is a true story. When he went to the counter, a dog has come on the side, and the dog is also keeping the hands on the counter and wagging the tail and asking for some food. Have you seen this at home? Whenever you are eating, your dog is, coming and, give something to me, right? That's what he's telling, right? So the same thing was happening there. Then now the shop owner, he can't be feeding all the dogs on the road. No. So he was a little negligent about this. He was a little like, yeah, so dogs are coming, so it doesn't matter, right? Then Yoga Swami said just a couple of words and said, give something to the one who is going to go, right? Give something to the one who is going to leave, not go, leave. So when I say leave, meaning die. Give something to the one who is going to leave soon, right? So now he is a little prominent character in the area. So listening to him without objecting or without questioning, they gave a little bun to the dog. Dog picked it from its mouth, just went to the road, and a vehicle came and died just there, right? So what he meant by give something to the one who is going to leave, meaning he is going to die. In Sinhala, we say, Yane kata kanda deyak deepa. Right? So he knew, when you look at the dog, he felt this dog's life is no more. It has come to an end. So he just told the fellow, just give something to the one who is going to leave. Right? So he is known as a yogi who had so much of the supernatural powers. He was even seen at the same place, in the same time in two places. Once in Kandy, once in Katharagama. So he was even photographed. Those photos are even available today. So he was captured in two places, same person, at the same time. Right? So something like that. So that's why I said these things feels like, oh, he's talking about some, supernatural things and all this kind of thing. These are so many things about to come. Right? I also haven't experienced any of those things. So I am just telling you what the book says. Right? So then he says, so you can actually look into your previous lives. Right? And then you acquire the ability to even understand the mind of others. Right? Now, don't come into the conclusion like, yeah, so yesterday somebody came to talk to me. I knew this is what he was going to talk. Right? It doesn't mean that you have got the samyama and you have, focused your total mind power to that person. No, that's not what it is. So what it means is, when there are two people, you can actually understand what is running in this person's head. What are the thoughts running in this person's head? So you are being able to even talk to that person without words. Without words, you are being able to get into a conversation with people. Right? Even in Buddha's time, Buddha has seen certain people's intentions when they are coming to listen to something. So based on that, he modify what he want to say and tell them. Right? Based on the person's ability to grasp, he has either simplified or complicated the Dharma and tell in that particular language. Right? So that is being possible. Right? Then what it says is, a yogi who is able to read the mind of others in general can also, if necessary, precisely identify the contents which are beyond the reach of mind. Right? So this particular sutra is being introduced a little later to Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So what it says is, this is a little arguable. So what it says is, the person, if that person can identify or understand the mind of another person, he can understand certain other elements in his mind as well, what is running in his mind. But some book says, even though you can understand the mind of others, you are not being able to understand what thoughts motivated for such a particular thought. Right? Now, I am coming to kill you. So the person will understand, okay, this person is coming to kill me, but he will not be able to understand what are the causes for that particular action or the thought. Right? So these are little argumented things, but the understanding, what you need to get out of this particular couple of sutra is, once you have mastered the art of samyama, or being able to take full control of your mind power. By focusing on different things, either you can understand how the nature works, how you can understand how a human mind works. You can read another person's mind, right? You can read an animal's mind. So that if you can get that understanding, that is more than enough. Yeah? Right. Shall I move on to the next one? We have a Zoom option here. Okay. So that's too much. Right. Okay, shall we move on? Don't worry about these, right? You're not going to gain these tomorrow, right? Before that, there are so much of things we have to do. So that's why always I keep on, I explain the sutra, but I keep reminding you what need to be done. That is what is important, right? So what are the other outcomes? So he says, by control over subtle body, the sukshma sarira, the yogi can suspend at will the rays of light emanating from himself so that he becomes invisible to onlookers. He may again make himself visible by bringing back the power of perceptivity. Right? This is something what I explained, like a same person in two places. Right? So even in Buddha's time, when the Shakya Vanshis, meaning his own clan, when it comes to the pedigree, so what they understood is he was a prince and he couldn't handle it. He went to the forest. Now he became a monk with a bald head, right? Now let's see what he can do. So all these people were in big egos. They thought they are more superior than him. So what Buddha did is he went and he did a show in front of them. From one nostril, water was coming, and the other nostril, fire was coming. Right? So what he has done is, of course, no water or fire must have gone from his nostrils, but he controlled other people's mind for them to see that he is emanating water and fire from his nostrils. Right? So in the same way, even they say right now, in Myanmar and other places where these monks are meditating, sometimes you can see a monk who is walking in the sky. Right? It may be not that he is walking in the sky, but to your mind, right? Your mind is processing a picture that a monk is walking on the sky. Right? So what Patanjali says is, when you focus on somebody, in front of somebody, you look into the aura of that person, right? You can actually make yourself invisible and yourself visible. Right? So basically, it's not that, you are being vaporized like the super hero movies. No, you're controlling the other person's mind. Everything we see or perceive to our mind is a hallucination. Right? I see Janthan is dark, Bharata is fair, right? And other people are on video off, so I don't see them, right? So whoever it is, right? Can you be 100% sure that the color that I see on Janthan's face is right? Right? Can you see? Right? So actually, according to my eye, I see Janthan's color like that. Or I see this computer, the screen, white color, and all this kind of thing. Right? So it's a very relative thing. What is the true thing? We don't know. Right? So likewise, you can actually get into the mind, or you basically focus on the aura of somebody, and then you will be able to change. Even you can look like an animal. Right? So for an example, a simple example, right? So you see a lady coming towards you. Right? You see a lady coming towards you. How would a child see this lady? As an auntie. Right? Somebody similar, looking like my mother. Grown-up person, tall person. How would a teenager would see? Right? An attractive woman. Right? How would a beggar would see? Income source. How would a seller on the roadside would see? Another buyer, right? How would an old person see? Somebody similar like my daughter. So I start to remember my daughter, right? So different perspectives, right? So don't you think if you have control over the cosmic energy, if you have control over your mind, don't you think you can actually change how you've been shown to others? Could be possible, right? Then the same way as described above, he is able, right? Not bare. He is able to arrest sound, smell, taste, form, and touch. Likewise, the picture is being changed. You also can manipulate the sound, smell, taste, and touch, right? Then they say ability to understand the time of death. So this I have seen an example again in Jaffna. There was a particular sage. So he has basically, still if you go there, you can see that there's a pole, right? That's the place where he died. So he said, on this day, at this time, I am going to die. So he went there and kept in Padmasana, and he was like this, and then he died. So he exactly knew when his life is going to end. It's like there is a battery in a car, right? If you pay attention, if you maintain it very well, you will exactly know when this battery is going to die. We know normally in 3 years' time, the battery will go off. Likewise, the energy, cosmic energy in your body, when is it going to leave? Right? For that, imagine how much of inside focus your mind should have. Right? So that is important. So then, few more sutras. We will go through these sutras soon. Then we can again come to certain sutras that can be directly relatable to us. Things that we can do. Right? Then he says he gains moral and emotional strength by perfecting friendliness and other virtues towards one and all. So imagine you are a person in the first picture. Always, like so, so kind of introvertness and worries are there, scared to go out, scared to talk to people, right? So like that, right? So, and opposed to a person who would be like very friendly, right? Very friendly, very forward, and take things very positively. Always see only the positive thing of something. You see that there's a danger is coming, but even in the danger, you see the positiveness, right? So if you look at these two people, the two people here, I don't know whether it depicts the correct picture. I believe so, right? If you take these two people, right, who would spread the joy, spread the happiness, spread positive energies? This one, right? Even a smile can give energy to another person, right? Or you can walk to the office like this, right? Or you can walk to the office starting from the security officer or whoever the vendor outside selling vade, somebody saying good morning with a tap on their, shoulder, and then how are things going on and all these things. So you are actually, you are changing the world, right? Or you could have changed the world in such a way it's very drowsy and, like, another face. What to do today? Let's see, till 5:30, that's fine. Likewise, you can walk to the office, right? So what it says is the friendliness is the Maitri, the quality of Maitri. Meaning, so if you are a person who is full of Maitri, you will even emanate that energy around you, right? The positive energy, you will be able to even give it around you, to yourself and everybody around you. Does it feel like true? Yeah, it does, right? So you being a person, okay, smile with everybody one day. Just walk on the road. Everybody you see coming towards you, you just smile. Just smile and just do a head, this thing, nod, right? And see what happens. Opposed to You look at somebody and then just, look outside. Try this and just write down the results, right? You will see a lot of people are ready to help you. There are a lot of people who is there for you, right? A lot of people feel belongingness, right? All these things will happen, right? So even this happens. For this to happen, the things you have put into your head need to go out, right? There's another beautiful story, right, which I heard today morning. So there was a particular guy, let's call him a nice name. Let's say, I don't know, let's say Muhammad, right? So Muhammad is there, right? So now, this is nothing, against any religion or anything. I just got that name, right? So let's say Muhammad is there. So, no, let's say Amal, then I'm free. I don't have to be worried about, right? So Amal is there. So now I'm telling the story. So you see myself as a character, right? So Amal is there. So Amal starts a story saying, so we are walking on a particular passage, right? On the forest. So Amal is telling a story to everybody saying, in this passage at this time, elephants are chasing people, right? And then, so Amal tells this to one person and the other. So Amal has in his head, there are elephants in this jungle who chase after people, right? So it is in his head. Has he seen a single elephant? No. Has he heard any sound of an elephant? No. He just think, because the forest seems very dark in color and so much of, like scary, elephant can come and come after people and the elephant will attack them, right? So then what happens is, now Amal tell this story to, let's say, 5 people. So while he is walking, because he can't keep his mouth shut, elephants are there, right? Elephants are there. Can you run? All these things, he will start talking, right? And then, without Amal's knowledge, there is a small shop around. So Amal stopped there to eat a roti with lunumiris. Okay. So Amal is eating his roti. Now he's enjoying his roti. Suddenly, now this news has passed across people. And a child heard this news. And the child is crying and running out of the jungle. And when the child is crying and running out of the jungle, the people also know what is the child is crying, saying, an elephant is coming after me. An elephant is coming after me. Right? Now the people are also thinking, okay, this child must have seen an elephant, right? You don't want to risk the life with an elephant. Everybody is running out of the jungle. Now suddenly, Amal was enjoying the roti. So he came outside and now he hears, what's going on? An elephant is chasing people. Now what is Amal doing? Amal is also running with the people. Right? Now what happened here is, you put garbage to your head. Right? After some time, the garbage you put to your head itself is carrying you. Right? Now, is there an elephant there? There's no elephant, right? You put the garbage in, you put a thought in, and that thought basically is carrying you only. Right? So this is called utter stupidity or craziness. And according to how I heard, it says, right? You put thoughts into your head, you process it, and that thought become bigger, and thicker. And then at a point, the same thing is now closing or basically confining yourself. I'll take another example. I think I'm an introverted person. I'm a very introverted. I don't like people. So for a time, I'm keeping on telling myself, I don't like people. I don't like to interact with people. I hate people. I can't be with people. I don't like jokes of people. I don't like to, get into these conversations with people. Now what happens? At a time, when I saw a person, all these things will come into my head thinking, this person is going to come and talk to me. He's going to attack me and all this kind of thing. And my own thoughts are now scaring me. right? So that's why we need to understand this mind is not the thoughts. This mind, even though we see so many things around, don't be so sure that there are things around and there is a person right here looking at these things, right? So just because there are things around, right? Don't think all these things are fixed. What I see, this black color door is black color door. This white color light is white color light. This particular yellow color wall is yellow color wall, right? And myself sitting here, I see all these things, right? Get out of that fixed thinking, because nothing is sure. If I put a rat here, he will not see any of these colors. If I put a dog here, the vision would be different. If I put an elephant here, the vision would be, so who is correct? Man is correct? Can we say man is correct? What I see is correct? You can't say that, right? So get on to the understanding that, get out of the understanding that there is a fixed myself, there is a fixed object, and what I see is correct, right? So when you get out of this understanding, you will see, I see something, I don't know. Right? So when you don't know, would you keep on think about that? You should stop thinking about it. So if a girl, now look at this red color girl, right? Now when you look at her, is she wearing red? Is she wearing white? Is she fair? Is she dark? Some might say she is dark, right? And then, at the end of the day, she may be just standing in front of a screen, right? Or this whole picture may be a created one. Who knows? It may be not even a girl. Who knows, right? So when you look at something in your day-to-day lives, look at everything in a middle-pointed way. Then don't pump up impressions to your head. This is like this, this is like that. I like this, I don't like this. Red, blue, all these things, right? So when that is not there, only thing which is running in your mind, running in your heart is just the compassion towards everything. You are not judgmental. You don't say it right or you don't say it wrong. So you are a total harmless person to the environment, right? So when you become harmless, basically your environment also get that particular energy. Right? Do you like to work for a horrible boss who always yells and screams? No, because for such a person, even in modern culture, we call he's creating a toxic culture. The toxic energy is there. Whenever you meet with him for 5 minutes, your whole day is gone. Have you experienced that? When you go in front of a horrible boss or a horrible person, you talk with them for 5 minutes, your energy is fully drained. You feel like coming out and eating something again or taking a nap. Have you experienced that? Yeah. On the same way, have you experienced when you are being with a positive person who look at life in like, there's no, burden in that. You have money, you don't have any, who cares? Right? So with such a person, you feel like, even you feel so light. Feel like being with such a person. Feel like you're safe with such a person. Haven't you got that feeling? Right? So that is basically what we mean as perfect in the friendliness or Maitri Karuna. Right? And then we say by Samyama, on strength, the yogi will develop the physical strength, grace, and endurance of an elephant. Think of this, right? Now, if you are ready to jump from a cliff, let's say bungee jumping, will you do it? If you're ready, if you're so excited to do it, I want to experience, you will do it, right? But in the same way, knowing that it is such a great experience, seeing all nice videos and everything, knowing that it's 100% safe. If your mind is telling, and you have 6 packs, like big hunky body, right? Nothing will happen. You can even punch somebody on the face to death, right? That's strong. Even such a person, if you get a negative thought to your head, I might injure myself. I'm scared to do this. My heart rate is pounding, right? My heart is pounding in a very high level, right? So then will you do it? You won't. It's just the mind. The mind is really, 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 really important, right? You can go with your shoes, you can go with your safety kit, you can go with your selfie camera, or what do you call that small thing? GoPro, right? Everything, or everything is there around you. But if your mind is not ready, you will not take that risk, right? So imagine when the mind is so steady, when the mind doesn't have clutter, when the mind is able to focus on a particular point, you can, of course, get the strength like an elephant. Yeah. So sometimes imagine, let's say on a particular point, when you're walking, right? Your friend just faints, right? Or something happens, or an accident takes place, right? So what you do is, you can carry the person and you can even run. Have you noticed such instances? And then you yourself is wondering how I got that energy, right? It's because at that particular point, you basically focused on that situation and you wanted to do it, right? That's why you were able to carry, right? Maybe that person is more heavier than you, but at that moment, you got that strength, right? So imagine again, if the mind is so strong, what are the things you can't do in this world, right? Anything and everything is possibility only, right? So I think we are running out of time. So we'll go to this slide and we will stop this thing. So what it means is, so you think. So people say, okay, so if you want to be a yogi, you have to get out of all your negative energies, negative thoughts, your past. Don't think about past, don't think about future. Live in the present moment. Stay in full awareness, consciousness. Right? We say all these things. But can you live without thinking about your past? No, you can't erase. Unless you take a big stick and hit your head, you forget the past, right? Otherwise, you can't. So, what it means is, stay in the present moment. It's like this. You do think about past, right? But the watcher in your head is now fully aware, okay, this guy is thinking about this particular past event, right? You are fully aware even when you're thinking about a past incident, event, you are fully aware, okay, I am right now, my mind is thinking about this, right? And the second thing is, you think about the past, but you don't start, making things with that past memory, right? You know, okay, there is a very bad person in my life in this particular year. Now don't feel like, oh, I can kill that person, right? Don't let actions come in. Don't think about action. You want to think about what you think about the past, but make sure that the surveillance is on, the witness is on. Your mind is fully aware what thoughts are you processing right now at this moment, right? Present, again, live in the present moment, again, be a witness. Future, you can plan your future. You can think about your finances. You can plan everything, right? But don't try to live in the future. Don't cling into those feelings. Again, when you're thinking about future, you be very aware, okay, I'm thinking about this right now, right? So the middle path doesn't mean you don't like material things. Your ability to generate impressions about the material has to be middle path, right? So you look at something, do I like it or I don't like it? Does it, so why I have this? Because it gives some function to the computer. That's it. Do I love the color of it? I love the shape. Oh, no, come on, right? You don't have to go there, right? So doesn't mean that you hate things. Also doesn't mean that you like things, right? Like or dislike, doesn't matter. And also It's just a matter about your perception towards that has to be middle path, not that you whether I like that color or I don't like that, right? That is it. Then emotions and impressions are outcomes of your mind's work, right? So be watchful and do not fall for them. Last example I can give you is for today. So whenever there is CCTV, so CCTV is what sort of a control in IT world? So there are some IT professionals that ask, right? What sort of a control is a CCTV? Right? We call it a deterrent control. Why is it a deterrent control? So sometimes the CCTV is there. It's not even working. Nobody is watching. But the behavior is good in that area, right? So sometimes we say monitored through CCTV. Whenever you see that, so have you seen these thieves and all on the roadside, right? If they see the CCTV, sometimes they just keep it what they took and just walk away because they don't want trouble, right? And do you know about the third umpire? So third umpire is not on the field. He's not playing. He's not even judging. He's not judging. The judging umpire is on the field. He's saying this or this, likewise. So he is judging on the field. Third umpire or the CCTV doesn't judge, right? But when the third umpire is there, when the CCTV is there, everybody behaves better, right? Likewise, to your mind also, consciousness is maintaining a CCTV, maintaining a third umpire. I don't judge. The third umpire doesn't judge. When a thought comes, we don't say, hey, take that thought out, eliminate that thought, restrict it. Shh. We don't say that. Rather, we are fully watchful. If something to go wrong, all the evidence is there in the CCTV. Knowing that your mind will not operate haywire. Right? So be a witness, meaning again the witness, I told you, witness is not a judge. Witness doesn't do anything. Witness just watch and walk. But if something goes wrong, witness will come and tell what exactly happened. This thought came and this person was engaged to that. You had a problem with this person. You started scolding this person. Because of that, your whole energy system went all around the place. Then somebody walked in, you punched that person. That's what happened. Right? So if you're watching, if the CCTV is on, if the deterrent control is your consciousness. Now this lady is sitting, right? Whatever thoughts coming into her head may be coming into her head. But she's fully aware, okay, this thought came and a little bit of anger came to me. Doesn't matter. That's fine. Then it went off. This particular thought, so much of sad memories came in and started feeling like crying. Then it went out. So that's all. As soon as you get into that thought, you will keep on going in that. Then you will cry, then you will laugh, then you will jump, then you will hit somebody. All these things happen when you get deviated and go along with your thought. But if you watch your thought in front of a CCTV, things happen and things go away. Again, something happens and something goes away. Even a very sadful memory come to your mind. If you are just watching towards that, you know that this is just some hallucination happening, and then it will go away. But if you get part of it, if you feel like, okay, I got this feeling, this person did this to me, and then basically you are going with it. Right? Be a witness. Being a witness is what is meant by being conscious. Being conscious. Live. Live like a living body. Don't live like just a fish, just walking. Right? Live like a living body. Right? You know where you are. You know when you are walking, you know where you are walking. When you are sitting, you know you are seated. When you are doing a yoga asana, you exactly know in which angle or the way how your leg is up, hand is, your vision is, this particular place I'm maintaining. That's it. Right? So basically be in the present moment is you being watchful about the present moment, whatever happening in your head. That is what is important, right? So with this, there are some more sutras to tell you. We will talk about these sutras, right? But we will always come to the point where we should start right now. Yeah. Otherwise, we should have done a course on Patanjali. So there will be a question paper you can answer, you can get merits, and tomorrow nothing. Right? So what we want to do is we want to understand what we are supposed to do, what Patanjali has said, and basically where to start. Right? That is important. Right. So we will close the session from here. So hands in Anjali Mudra. Deep breath. Inhale. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Shanti Shanti Shanti. So thank you everyone. So if you have anything you can ask.